Let's talk about managing money in your 20s. In my experience, I have always managed my money in some way. Even if I earned a lot of money, I'm not kind of a person who would go out and spend all of that. So I tried to save as much as possible, and I actually saved up a pretty big amount of money before I even got interested in investing money in index funds, for example. And as soon as I got into investing, my money management skills have grown a lot, and it's much easier to understand my finances as a whole. It's much easier to make better financial decisions, and I'm more aware of what I'm buying, how I'm spending my money, and in general how much I'm earning and where the money goes. And your financial growth is related to this, basically in a way that if you're saving and investing more than you're spending, you're in a good way to financial growth. And that's what I aim to do all the time. Especially if you're in your 20s, like me, you have to prioritize that before anything else. Money management is a skill you learn over time. But if you have poor financial habits, such as you're spending every day on something unimportant, or you end up spending more than you should have, and you're not even saving anything, it's going to be really hard to, grow your finances with that kind of a lifestyle, because as you get used to it, changing habits can be hard. And that's why it's very important to take action now and start building good financial habits such as saving and investing. That will help you to grow your finances over time. And what's the best part about this is that if you're still in your 20s, you can change all this and still live a successful financial life. That's why in this video we go over 3 tips how to manage money in your 20s. Before we jump into that, make sure to watch this to the very end, because those 3 tips I'm gonna give you are very important, and I'm gonna also be sharing a bit of my own experience. And if you're liking this video this far, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more so you don't miss the newest uploads every Thursday and Sunday. Alright, let's get to it. Tip number 1, build a budget and stick to it. If you're having poor financial habits, budget is essential for you because it is the foundation of all personal finance success. If you don't have a budget, it's very hard to know where your money is going, how much you're spending it. As a result, it's much easier to end up overspending money in general, and that's not what you want. So the point of a budget is to limit your spending and prioritize financial growth. And there's a lot of different tips, videos, articles on the internet about how to create a budget. And I have also created a video about how to create budget. You can click here to watch it now. And I'll also link it down in the description. But the easiest way to create a budget is use 50-30-20 rule. And I've talked about this rule in many videos already. But simply, this is the most beginner-friendly way of starting budgeting. So the 50% is your essential costs, your rent, bills, groceries. That's something you have to pay, right? And what I do with the 30% is that I save and invest that, and the rest 20% goes to my wants. Some people like to do this differently, so they put 30% into their wants and put 20% into their savings and investments. Because I'm in my 20s, I think it's more important to prioritize long-term financial growth. That's why I'm putting 30% into savings and investments. And the 30% is still a pretty big amount of money. So what I would do is I would put 10% of that into savings and 20% into investments. When you invest that money, that's when you can really get bigger returns, especially over long term. And I will promise you, when you get into budgeting and you've created a habit of creating a budget for yourself every month, you will see great financial results immediately. So for example, if you compare yourself last month when you didn't have a budget to the month you had a budget, there can actually be a pretty big difference in terms of how much you spent money. And the money you spend on something unnecessary can be invested in the stock market to prioritize your financial growth. So eventually, setting a budget will help you to avoid debt, build savings, and achieve your financial goals faster. Tip number 2, an emergency fund. So let's start with the fact that life is adventure, and the adventure is unpredictable. So you never know what kind of unexpected expenses you're gonna run into. That's why emergency fund is your safety net. And those unexpected expenses could be something like car repairs, medical bills, or maybe even, just you're going for a more expensive trip, or in general buying something that requires a bit more of a money. Having an emergency fund will help you to stay mentally calm in terms of your financial situation, because you know that you're prepared for unexpected expenses that can affect your financial status. Having a strong emergency fund keeps you away from relying on credit cards or loans. So how do you start with this is set up a savings goal for yourself. So maybe $500 every month or $1,000 every month. If you want to save, for example, $500 in 2 months, it means you're saving $250 a month. Do it in a way that works for you, so you still know that you're making that progress, right? And over time, build your emergency fund up to cover 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. That's what many financial advisors tell you to do, and that's a good amount of money to keep in there. How to make this process even easier? You can set up automatic transfers to your savings account. Even $100 a month will add up over time, so in a year it's gonna be $1,200, right? over time, once you get more confident with your emergency fund and you know that you have a big amount of money in there, you don't have to be stressing all the time about your financial situation, and you don't have to be worrying about unexpected expenses that could come up at any point. Alright, tip number 3. This is my absolute favorite. I'm still doing it, and this is what I prioritize the most. So start investing early. The earlier you start investing, the more potential growth you can get on your invested money. This is what actually will make you stand out from people who don't invest. So what investing is all about is that you use your own money to make more money, and the money works for you. So you don't have to work for that money like you would do if you had a job or something. Why it's so powerful to start investing in your 20s is that the longer you invest, the more advantage you can take of compound interest. And even if you start investing with $50 a month when you're 20 years old, it may seem like a very small amount, right? But here's the thing, it will still make a huge difference by the time you get older. And that's why I would still recommend to invest $50 to $100 every month into a cost-effective index fund or ETF or whatever is easiest for you. So I have created a video how to start investing in index funds for beginners, and I link it down in the description below. So if you're interested in investing and you're about to start that, make sure to watch that video because it will help you to set up your investment goals, learn how index funds work, what they are, and how to invest in them in general. You don't have to be, doing individual stock research and picking up individual stocks because it is hard and it requires time, and you have to understand also how stock market works. When you invest in an index fund, it's basically already a completed portfolio and you just put your money in there every month. Index funds have low fees, which is really good for you, especially over a long term, because you can take advantage of those returns and especially compound interest. For now, as a student, I'm investing roughly around $200 every month into index funds. What I want you to understand is that investing even $100 every month into index fund can grow significantly over 10 to 20 years. That's illustrating the power of small investments, but most importantly, investments that are consistent over time. And all these 3 tips I gave you today are basically foundation to personal finance success, and you have to start doing them today, especially if you're in your 20s. Limit your spending, create a budget if you are in total financial crisis, build an emergency fund for unexpected expenses, and start investing to prioritize your financial growth over time. So all that being said, I hope this makes sense and got you motivated to take action today. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up. And if you're interested in more this type of content about finance in general, financial terms, I would highly recommend you watch this video next. It is about 10 financial terms everyone should know. If you're new to the channel, click here to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.